I mean, I don't know if you've got any...
Would you like to take a few questions?
Yes, I would, if you have any.
It's astonishing to see these young people in your photographs who are so involved in expressing this aspect of their culture. And you've finished with, in some ways, a kind of positive thing about that things are getting a little bit better. But from a cultural point of view, do you think their interest in the carnival will be affected or diminished? Or are you seeing that already?
I think it's a good question. I think, well, one is, you know, like I mentioned, I was very worried when they were like going, oh, now we're going to have folkloric carnival, and but actually it's a lot more robust than I sort of gave it credit for. And so even though they do the boring old parade the weekend before, the next weekend they revert back to the totally you know, the carnival of flaneurs, so to say. But I think there is a difference now, and for, you know, in a way, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a sociologist or a cultural theorist that much. I just look on. Haiti has a very, very strong culture, and I wonder sometimes whether or not it's because Haitian people, the majority of them, have not been treated as consumers. And actually that's been a blessing in some ways. But now this telecom company called Digicel, which is from Ireland, has bowled in. I mean, it's really interesting. Before Digicel, you had one mobile phone company called Voila, and you had to, you know, you had to have a bank account, and you had to like pay $100 for a phone. This company came in, they were selling phones for $15. You could, you know, top up on the street, you know. And of course, in a lot of ways, the Haitian poor were really excited to be treated like consumers finally. But, you know, it's a sort of Faustian contract, I think. And already, I mean, Digicel are the most aggressive advertisers, and they've managed to buy out Voila now. So they have a monopoly on Haiti, but they still advertise like mad. And what they're trying to do is they're paying different carnival troops just to wear their t-shirts. And I think there's more chance that this whole thing will be killed by advertising and branding than it will by people having their own phones. And so I think, and also I think there is, since the earthquake, there's been a big change. There's a very neoliberal government now, and they're looking towards tourism as a way of making money. And I really do think that the Ministry of Tourism will try very hard to clean it up. Already, they don't have like the bikini type, there's no sequins or bikinis, but now there are. You know, they're being inserted, and you know, I wonder, the sort of like, I mean, I think the Ministry of Tourism might not see that as the sort of kind of ideal carnival for people to come and see. So who knows? But I could be, you know, like just being a sort of depressive, and it could be incredibly robust and survive all that. Yeah.
I think it will. I'm from Trinidad actually, and you know, sequins, and you know, more and more we're getting like Brazil. And but you know, there's still a section of the carnival community that still put on the sailor mask and the Indian mask, which was, you know, traditional mask, and you know, and then we have people like Italy who, you know, are still really playing theatre masks.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that culturally it is so strong that this will survive.
Well, that's nice to hear. Although it was funny enough, someone from Trinidad that told me, oh, Digicel had killed Haitian Trinidad Carnival. So actually it was sort of like from that I was kind of getting really worried at this sort of aggressive, because you do have Digicel in Trinidad, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in Haiti,
but I think
that's
that's
on
all
the contrary.
a bit of it will stay, you know, it's too ingrained in them, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's fabulous, really fabulous street theatre.
Yeah, no, it is, yeah.
Is it always at the same time of year?
It is, yeah. So it's Mardi Gras. So it's just the weekend before Lent.
Okay. For a week.
You know, I've never really sussed it out. I mean, sometimes it seems...
It's not just one day.
No, it's not just one day. It's at least...
They do the parade and then they just go do their own thing.
That's the sort of one the weekend before. It's about... No, I mean, in a way, you have Samedi Gras, Dimanche Gras, Lundi Gras, and Mardi Gras. It's going through the days. So for me, it seems like the one on the Sunday is the biggest one. But you know, maybe I don't hang around enough.
How has age played a part in the involvement of the carnival?
Age.
And the development of Asian culture from your perspective?
I mean, it seems to me, and I did some of the interviews, like I did an interview with this young guy who plays the frog, Crapeau. And I think kids grow up, they love the carnival, and they start usually, I mean, these are great, because I don't know what these are. I only just saw them once, didn't have a chance to ask them what it was. So I think they get involved. You have, like a lot of the, where is it? Oh yes, it's the Zellmaterin, the people with the big wings. They'll always have quite young people learning with them. So, and Crapeau, the frog, sorry, it sounds such a weird name. You know, that's a perfect place for young people to start, but they always have ambition. So when I interviewed the young guy who did the frog thing, he was like, but when I get older, I'm going to be a tiger. So there's that sense that you're going to work your way up, you know, so you do your time. But you can get little mini tigers as well, which are super cute. Did you say there was a second part of your question, wasn't there? Hi.
How were you received the first time you went out there, and how did it change when you kept going back? I mean, did you see that you as a person, you were more comfortable when you arrived, and so they received you slightly differently, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I did it for 16 years, so yeah, I mean, the first time, the guys with the wings, you can't really tell in these photographs, these wings, these sort of kind of around the corner, are these huge wooden wings, and they're attached to the to their elbows by these metal rods, so they can just go like this, bang them together, and then every wing has these sort of little, well, they're little metal blades. And so they used to, like, when you're a stranger, they'll run at you and then jump backwards and do this and just miss you. Oh, not always just, but, you know, so you can tell, you know, there's always a bit of a fight, especially with me, because I'm using a camera like this, you know, and I think this is also part of, I think my relationship is, I'm not using camera I hold up to my eye, I'm using a camera that you hold down here. You know, it's totally manual, it takes rolls of film that only have 12 exposures, I have to do a light reading. So actually, in a way, I've had to plod around. I can't use a long lens and hide behind a corner and just snap away. I have to go up and say, can I take your portrait? You know, blah, blah, blah. Actually, I do pay as well. And I have other Western photographers moaning, going, I'm wrecking it for everybody. But I think if you're going to go to the expense of making your costume, you know, it's part of the carnival. So, and also I speak Creole, which helps. And so that, I think, bit by bit, and because I did actually took the oral histories, then I was actually sitting down with people. So now, you know, it's very different, and people really know me. And I've had a show in Jacmel of the work. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that... Yeah, there was like, you know, it is a bit more, it's harder at the beginning, but it slowly gets easier. I mean, 16 years, I mean, it's got to get easier, really, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
I wanted to ask something like, quite, why are you doing the talk? What would you say? What was your intention of this talk for people to receive? I understand awareness is one of them, and getting to see what it is. But something you mentioned about in our culture, we've already been commodified, and something that I look at when I look at this story, I feel like, you know, there is a sense of culture already there that is totally missing here. Like, I was just wondering why you, or what your intentions were for doing this.
Well, I think it's probably exactly as you say. I mean, like, you know, like I said, I've been like really interested in British folk traditions, because that, yeah, again, is another way of British people telling their histories, you know, from, you know, bottom up. That makes sense. But yeah, I think it is. For me, there's a lot of people I think go to Haiti and it's a bit like, oh, it's so exotic and it's so blah, 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 and bring it back and people go, whoa, it's really weird. And it's not actually, for me, my real main impulse, I've realised this is not actually plugged in. My real impulse is a wake-up call to people in Britain to say, get hold of your own, start telling your own history, start telling your own stories. Do not sit around waiting for the media to tell them for you. However you tell them, you should damn well tell them, and that's the absolute point of this. It's not for me to go, hey, I really want you to all go on holiday to Haiti, it's so great. It's not at all. It's to go, what are we missing? What are we not doing that they're getting right? And that's for me, it's really important to me that people start telling their own stories whatever way. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Side of that question, just the way that people represent their identity as well. And when it comes to the Caribbean culture, a lot of the time it's either a tourist resort or it's to do with slavery, or maybe food as well, so tourism again.
Yeah.
How do you spoke of how the photographers, especially when they go to these places, they always identify either one of those factors and play parts in it. But how do you see photographers identifying parts of their history which have nothing to do with slavery or tourism?
Okay, you mean Western photographers when they're in Haiti?
I think most photographers are generally brainwashed in some way, just like you said. They all have an inflection. So you could say from your perspective, how would you go there and approach it to kind of identify from a completely a fresh perspective to most, to really represent what's going on over there?
Okay, so yeah, there's quite a lot of things I think come up with that question. I do agree that there's a lot of Caribbean countries, especially when they've sort of like got a strong Ministry of Tourism, distill their whole history into sort of like, you end up as the whole history becomes just like the placemat in the hotel, and it's very cute and there's a couple of nice drawings of palm trees behind. And one thing is interesting in Haiti, when I showed the cast project in Sydney, in Museum of Contemporary Art, and there was this big talk, and somebody said to me, oh, when you were taking those portraits in the neighbourhood, was everybody really discussing, like the slavery times, what was the sort of discourse whilst I was taking them? And I kind of got caught back, sort of like, I just ended up going, no, they didn't. And then afterwards I thought, God, that made everyone sound really dim or something. But I think what it is I thought about it, is the discourse around slavery is not so huge in Haiti, because they overcame it. So the main historical discourse is about victory. And so if I'd been taking a set of photographs that maybe did the leaders of the Haitian Revolution, like Toussaint, Dessalines, Christophe, then I think, they're probably still arguing it through now. You know what I mean? Beers would come out and everybody would be going, oh, I'm more Christophe, I'm more Dessalines. That's where the real sort of discourse is. So I think that's partly answers one thing. I mean, I'm still aware of my own needs. You see, part of it is I still am seduced by the exotic. I mean, I try and fight it, I try and limit the damage, but there is, the truth of the matter is, and someone challenged me with this, is why don't you go to Haiti and photograph the lives of the bourgeoisie? And I was like, ugh. Not the bourgeoisie, all right, a bit. But, would I want to go to Haiti and photograph, people sitting in really nice kitchens and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I have my own challenges there as well. There are things that I know I'm kind of incapable of going to Haiti to do. So, in a way, I'm still my own abattoir for photography, deep down. Does that? Yeah, great.
One last question.
Yeah, it's just about the aesthetics, because these are just such beautiful images. Are you finding it harder to get to work in the analog domain?
No. Yeah, it's kind of, no. I think you just sort of like, I did notice when I was scanning the pictures for this show of the different films and how they come up in differently when you scan them, which is something you don't think about so much when you print them somehow, but print them photographically, because obviously the prints finally are made digitally now. No, but you still can buy enough black and white film. There are places. I process my own. I either use a printer or I get a scanner. There's of course the amount of films that you can use are much more limited, but you kind of just adapt. But, yeah.
Did you have a burning question? Last.
No, it's not really a question, it's just some advice, really. It's just like, it's something, that I've seen. And that's with the Caribbean, there's a lot of history that's untold. Like, that you've got the native Caribbeans, like you've got like the native people there.
Like the Tainos.
Yeah, like you've got the Tainos, you've got the Caribs, you've got the Arawaks. All of that side of the fence is not really told, and a lot of Caribbean people don't know that they've got those, people mixed in with them. So what I would think is to tell the story of Haiti, say Jamaica and Trinidad, and how it's changed in 500 years. So you could have, because the culture has changed completely in 500 years, because it's been a switch over of people and a mixture of people, and they've had to kind of, mix in order to build a new culture.
Yeah.
So I think if the whole aim was based on that, it would swept people away. I don't know.
I agree. And
something.
Maybe to end with this is quite nice then, is that, Haiti was called Saint-Domingue before the revolution, and they renamed it Haiti, and Haiti actually is Taino, a Taino word for mountainous country. So I thought it was really amazing that the leaders of the Haitian Revolution actually, out of respect to the people that came before them in that land, used the Taino language to rename their country. So maybe that's some way of keeping that, history alive a little bit. Thanks.